Alright, now we're picking up where we left off on chapter 13. This is 13 part 2. I was worried the recording wasn't working, so I stopped in the middle, but it was working fine, but now it'll just be in two pieces. Okay, now in Java, if we create a subclass constructor and don't have a call to the one, like when we see in our prior example, I can go back here because I'm still on the slides. Remember how employee extended person? Well, if we don't create a constructor for that, it does that for us automatically, like it says here. It says if you write a subclass constructor and don't include a call to another constructor with this or super, then the Java compiler will sneak in and insert a superclass zero parameter constructor by default. What that means is this employee down here, okay? Remember, employee inherits from person. So what happens is if we create, if we don't call person in any way, it does it for us. So if we have a zero parameter constructor for employee, like we have here, it creates one and basically says, hey, also create person. So it just does it for us. You don't have to worry about it. It's done automatically. So they're automatically done. It does it for us. So really, these are the same, like it says. Okay, now let's talk about method overriding. It says a method overriding is when a subclass has a method with the same name and same parameter types as the superclass. If a subclass contains it, it says the object of the subclass will use the subclass's overriding method. I'm trying to think of another example for that. But if I have a superclass like the person, then if I have the same method in person and I also have the same method in employee, the employee would override it. Okay? Alright. It says by default the object of the subclass will use the superclass's overriding method, and we're going to see an example of that in a second. So if a subclass and superclass have methods with the same name, same parameters, and different return types, then you get a compilation error. Okay? Now here, I think he's going to show us an example of one here. Okay. And let me pause this for 1 second. Alright, now I'm back. Alright, it says complete the implementation of the full-time class below. Remember, full-time it inherits employee, which inherits person. So remember our UML. Actually, let me go back to that real quick, in case you forgot that, since this is a separate recording. Remember, full-time and part-time were inherited employee, which inherited person. Okay, so full-time needs to extend above. And now let's get back to where we were just at. Okay. So I was nice enough to do this for us. Now let's talk about this class. Okay. Full-time extends employee. Why does it not extend person? Well, it doesn't need to. It extends employee because employee extends person already. Now, we have our variable salary, okay, and our constructor full-time. Now, he wants us to create a three-parameter constructor and a display method. Let's talk about the one I just made. Again, you guys aren't here to answer questions, so I'm just doing it for you. Now, we need a constructor called full-time. So obviously public full-time is what we need. Has to receive 3 arguments, like you said. Name, ID, and salary, which I did. Name is the type string, ID is int, and salary is double. Now, since we only have the variable salary here, really this is the only line we can put to access the variables that pertain to this class. So I can do this.salary is equal to salary. Now if I want to set the name and ID, here name and ID, I need to call super. This time passing a name, passing an ID. Now what does that do? Well, it takes name and ID and calls the parent class. In this case is employee. We see that up there. So name and ID is passed to employee, right here, receives 2 arguments. Then when this one gets called, the name gets passed to its parent, which is person, which then goes here. So by using this one constructor, we're actually called all 3 of the other ones. Okay. Now, we want to output the results, and I say super.display. Okay. Now, why am I doing super.display? Well, there's a very good reason why. Okay. If I didn't, say I just left that right there, display would call itself. It would be like a never-ending loop. be calling itself. So we put super, then that means call the display method from person, which is right here. Okay, so it'll output this result here. Then when it's done with that, then it outputs the salary. And here we actually have a main method so we can run it. Okay, let's see what this one does. Okay, so we have Brad Smith, ID 5733, his salary, and then Brad Smith again. Okay, now you'll notice down here we created a new person called Brad Smith. We called display, and then we used output his name. So pretty simple stuff there. Okay, you do have to do a program something like this, I think, in week 5. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so we talked about that. Oh, it says from the previous slide, main method, note that the get name call. Okay, let me bring that one up here. Okay, get name call. This call right here, fulltimer.getName. Okay, what is that? Well, full-timer is that. Okay, so like he says here, it says is a full-time reference variable, so you expect it to call the method defined in it, but full-timer calls getName, which is defined in the person class, not the full-timer class. So how does it do it? Well, since employee inherits getName from person, and since full-time inherits employee, full-time inherits getName from employee from person. So we can actually reference it just by calling getName. Since it's done in here, we're actually referencing this method right here. Well, that brings up a question then. So if that's true, so if we can access the getName method without actually saying person or whatever, then how come I had to do super here? Well, the reason is because I have the variable the same name, a method the same name. If this was a different name, then I wouldn't have to worry about that. Okay? All right. Hopefully I explained that well enough. Okay, the final. So if you want to specify what a method definition cannot be overridden with a new definition in the subclass, then you use final. It means no one can change it. Okay? So public class person, public final string get name. Okay? Then now, so up in the person class, we have the method getName. In employee, we have getName as well. Well, what if we want to make it so that no one can override this name? We use final. This will give us a compile error down here because getName is also defined in person, and we said final, which hopefully you remember is a constant. All right. It says, would you ever like to use this if you think that your method is perfect? Well, nothing's ever perfect, but okay. But if you thought it was perfect, then you might want to use final to prevent anyone else from overriding it in the future. Okay? So final methods might run faster since the compiler can generate more efficient bytecode because there's no need to prepare for possibility of inheritance. Okay? So if you want to specify that a class cannot have any subclasses, in other words, person couldn't be inherited or extended into employee, then you would just say public final class full-time. Okay? Then it wouldn't do anything else. Okay? So if we were to do public final class person, then our program, actually, you know what? Let me do that real quick. If I can find my code. Okay, there it is. So if I went over here to person, I said public final person, that'll work. Whoa, that one no longer works. Reason is right here it says cannot inherit from final person. Public class. Say what happens is this makes the person class says nope, no one can inherit from me. It's kind of like the mean relative that doesn't want to give his money to anybody. So this statement right here, when it extends person, it don't like it. So again, if I try to compile employee, I get an error. So if I go back to person and remove final, that'll work. And that'll work. Well, now let's try putting the final here. So what is that going to do for us? Okay. So now I can compile person. I can, whoops, sorry, I didn't hit the wrong button. And I can compile employee. But can I compile full-time now? No, because full-time extends employee, And this final over here is basically saying, nope, you cannot extend me. So I'd have to remove that. Now I could extend employee. All right. I think that's enough on that one. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the comparison. It says aggregation and composition relationships are when one class is a whole and other classes are part of the whole. Inheritance is when one class is a more detailed version of another class. Like the person had more detailed information, well, employees built upon person and so on and so forth. The more detailed class is the subclass and the other is the superclass. So person gave us a little more information. Employee gave us a little more information. Full-time gave us a little more information. So, it gets more as it goes down. So we call aggregation and composition relationships has a relationship because one class, the container, has a component class. Now, really the difference when calling these, with an inheritance you use the extends. Okay? But remember when we did the dealership example, I didn't extend those. One class just used the other one. That's the real difference. Okay? So, just like he's saying here, this, bring it over here, this full-time employee is an employee. This employee is a person. That's how he's saying it. But when we did that dealership, we called each other. They weren't, part of one another. Okay? Alright. So in the real world, it's fairly common to have aggregation, composition, and inheritance all in one. Okay? Alright. Let's continue on. Okay. Card game program. Provide a class diagram for a card game program. I'm not going to walk through the code for this. Sorry. No, I'm just not. I'm tired of writing this code today. So assume it's like a game of like war or gin rummy. Okay. Oh, sorry. So here we have a game which has a deck and a hand. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm not going to cover this part in depth here. Okay. You're going to have to go through it. I will explain a few parts of it. So deck extends group of cards. So that's an inheritance. Okay. So group of cards is the superclass. Deck is the subclass. Okay. And let's continue on. And there's our composition over here because now we're not extending. Now we're actually creating a component of it. Okay. And here's the main driver for it. And I'm not going to walk through this. Sorry about that. Here's more of it. And feel free to walk through it. And if you have questions, you can ask me. But I'm just not going to walk through the whole thing. Okay. All right. GridWorld. All right. GridWorld was actually covered in the prior chapter. Actually, yeah, it was covered in the prior chapter. I did not walk through it in recordings. I'm not going to walk through it here because it was the case study in the prior one. Feel free to walk through it. The slides do explain it in detail. I just don't have this code. I don't feel like typing it all in, but you can look through them. Okay, the slides do explain it pretty well. If you got any questions, again, you do have access to all the slides. If you have any questions, please contact me and I can help you understand it. I'm just not going to walk through this. It's quite extensive, and I am not going to do it on the recording. Okay, now let's look at the end of chapter questions. In the book, which type of thing is used as an example for a composition hierarchy? Was it a library, a human body, or a roommate sandwich? Well, considering we didn't talk about libraries at all or sandwiches at all, it must be a human body. Okay, what word indicates that a class is derived from another class? Just like we did the person and the employee, it would be extends. Okay, because remember, using composition, we do not have to use anything like that. Okay, I think that's the end. Is there another one? Oh, no, there's one more. There's two more. Okay, what is it called when subclasses have a method with the same name and the same parameter type as a method in the superclass? Is it catering, overriding, or reliance? Well, we've only spoken about one of those. So it must be overriding. So the subclass overrides the superclass's method. Okay. Okay, what access modifier can be used in a class name declaration to prevent someone from making a subclass from an existing class? Just like I showed you in the employee and the person example, it's not static or, what's that, unique, I guess? It's final. Okay. That, oh, there's one more still. Alright. Which one of the following is not a class in the book's card game? Well, we didn't walk through it, but we have deck and group of cards. Dealer is the one not inside there. Alright, that's the end of Chapter 13. Thank you.